Mom, sis, and grandma are family, so I was expecting each of them to contribute $30,000 as a wedding gift. But sis had the nerve to suggest not inviting grandma to the wedding because accommodating her wheelchair would be too much trouble. I was stunned by what sis said. It gave me a headache. Grandma, whom sis didn't want at the wedding, is like a mother to us. Plus, it's entirely sis's fault that grandma needs a wheelchair. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even think of her as my sister anymore. My name is Jessica. Growing up, my sister Chloe and I had a tough time. Dad was a violent drunk, and Mom always took the brunt of it while trying to protect Chloe and me. It was heartbreaking to see Mom covered in bruises. Dad was like a storm every time he came home, wreaking havoc. Chloe and I spent our childhood huddled in a corner, waiting for the chaos to subside. As you might imagine, our parents eventually divorced. Dad was furious about the divorce, but somehow Mom managed to go through with it. Custody went to Mom, so Chloe and I ended up living in Mom's childhood home, where we began living with Mom, Grandma, and me. Grandma was incredibly kind to us, showering us with love to heal our emotional wounds. Since Mom was working full-time, Grandma took care of most household chores. She cooked our favorite meals, taught us the names of flowers in the garden, and instilled good manners in us. I can't thank Grandma enough for all she did. So, I couldn't understand Chloe's gradual change of heart. Around the time she hit her rebellious phase, Chloe started to change. She often hung out with a bad crowd and stopped studying altogether. Even at home, she'd grumble and tell us to move whenever she passed us in the hallway or on the stairs. Chloe's bad attitude was a constant concern for me, Mom, and Grandma. But things reached a breaking point when Chloe was in college. By then, Chloe regularly came home in the early morning hours, often drunk. It reminded me of the worst of Dad. Then, one day, the incident happened. Chloe came home drunk from a club party. I was already disgusted by her wandering around the house so carelessly when it happened. "Hey, Grandma, you're in the way. Move," Chloe said as Grandma was slowly descending the stairs due to her bad back. Chloe knew this, yet she pushed Grandma from behind, causing her to lose her balance from the sudden shove. While holding onto the handrail, Grandma fell down the stairs, and we had to call an ambulance. Mom and I were furious with Chloe. Pushing an elderly person is just unthinkable. Even with the ambulance arriving, Chloe tried to justify herself, saying she barely touched Grandma and couldn't believe she fell from just that. Grandma ended up fracturing her leg and worsening her already bad back, which resulted in a hospital stay. I visited Grandma daily, encouraging her as she diligently worked through her rehab. Yet Chloe never once came to visit. How could she do this to Grandma, who has always taken care of us? I'd say in rage, to which Grandma would always reply, "It's okay, it's fine," though her smile didn't quite reach her downturned eyebrows, showing she was saddened by Chloe's actions. Grandma worked hard in rehab, but ultimately had to adjust to life in a wheelchair. None of us had ever thought this would happen, and our house was not equipped for it. We made some adjustments, like installing ramps, but it was a challenging transition. Grandma was deeply saddened by her new limitations. While I was in college, I had the time to help Grandma, but it became difficult after I started working. We told Chloe, who was still a student, that she was the reason Grandma was in a wheelchair now, so she should help her when she's home. However, our words fell on deaf ears. While scrolling through her phone, Chloe would respond with a careless yeah, and continued her partying and drinking, never assisting Grandma when she needed it. Our patience was wearing thin with Chloe, but the tipping point came when she announced she was getting married and pregnant. She arrogantly apologized for getting married before me, stating she's the beautiful one and marrying up. Chloe started talking about her dream wedding, with a far-off look in her eyes. Apparently, she's planning to have the ceremony sooner rather than later to avoid being visibly pregnant. With her wealthy husband providing ample funds, Chloe boasted about having the wedding of her wildest dreams, wearing a princess-like dress, planning surprises, and going all out with the food. She even had the audacity to tell Mom and me that we should feel grateful for being invited. While I found Chloe's behavior intolerable, she's still my sister. I was genuinely happy for her marriage and pregnancy, but being told to be grateful for an invitation was off-putting. Furthermore, Chloe only mentioned Mom and me, completely omitting Grandma. Unaware of my growing suspicion, Chloe unknowingly answers my unspoken questions. Mom, Sis, and Grandma are family, so I'm expecting wedding gifts to be around $30,000. Oh, but don't invite Grandma to the ceremony. It's a hassle to accommodate someone in a wheelchair. I couldn't believe the nerve of my sister Chloe. I knew she was out of line, but this was just too much. The amount she expected for a wedding gift was outrageous, and most shocking of all, the idea of not inviting Grandma to the wedding was unthinkable to me. Grandma stepped in to take care of us when Mom was swamped at work. She raised us with so much love. To treat Grandma like she's a burden, and to think Chloe was the one who pushed Grandma down the stairs, leading to her being wheelchair-bound. Grandma has been saying how she feels like a burden since then. Chloe's words must have cut her deep. For Grandma, who's often felt down since becoming wheelchair-bound, thinking she's a burden to everyone, Chloe's words would have been tough to hear. Though Grandma said congratulations to Chloe, her usually kind smile was tinged with sadness. I couldn't stand it anymore. A surge of anger bubbled up from within me, an anger that had been simmering ever since Grandma was pushed down the stairs. That was the moment I decided I was done considering Chloe my sister. All right, make sure you get a proper wedding gift. You better wear something nice, or you'll make my fiancé's high-profile guests look bad, Chloe said, wheeling out a large suitcase from her room and leaving the house, completely ignoring Mom's angry shouts. I'm so happy to finally get out of this old, dirty house, she said, filled with spite, and left, waving her hand. Mom and Grandma were stunned for a moment, but I was burning with a desire for revenge. I shared my plan with Mom and Grandma, and although they were shaken, after all, Chloe is Mom's daughter and Grandma's granddaughter. If they disagreed, I was going to try to talk them out of it. But they thought about it for a minute and then nodded. We need to set her straight once and for all, Mom said, filled with regret about her parenting. Grandma reassured her, you were an excellent mother. It's my fault Chloe turned out this way, seeing the two of them. So hurt only fueled my determination for revenge even more. Months later, the day of Chloe's wedding arrived. Since it was a day off, I was enjoying a cozy tea time at home with a book. I looked at the clock and noticed that Chloe's wedding had already started. Grandma had even baked cookies to go with the delicious tea, making for a truly serene day off. Just then, both my and Mom's cell phones and the home landline began to ring. Frustrated by the relentless calls, Mom was about to answer the phone, but I stopped her. It's not her battle to fight. It's my revenge as the older sister. Hey sis, why aren't you at the wedding? Mom's not here either. What's going on? None of my friends are here either, so my guest seats are empty. Chloe's teary voice came through the phone. I responded calmly, do you really think Mom and I would support someone who doesn't appreciate Grandma, who has been so good to us? We all warned you multiple times about your behavior, but you ignored us. So we decided to ignore your requests. We're not coming to the wedding, and we're not sending a gift. You're lying. You told my friends not to come, didn't you? I don't have your friends. If they're not there, doesn't that just show you're not as lup as you thought? Chloe's voice was filled with sorrow, but I had more to say. By the way, we sold Grandma's house and moved. We're not telling you where. What? Why wasn't I informed? We don't want you to come. You've made Grandma's life miserable. I understand that you might see my actions as cruel, but I had to stand up for Grandma, who has been mistreated. Chloe, the one who forced Grandma into a wheelchair is you. Our new home is entirely accessible, and we even designed the kitchen to be easy for Grandma to use. She baked cookies today, and we're enjoying them now in our new home. It's heartless to ask us to come to the wedding now. And as for inviting Dad, that's a terrible idea. We haven't seen Dad since the divorce, and inviting him could only lead to trouble. Dad's drinking problem is as bad as ever, and he caused a scene at the wedding reception. He grabbed the microphone and went on an uninvited rant about how lonely he felt about his daughter's marriage. He even sang a song and tripped while drunk, crashing head first into another table. Chloe's husband, being a CEO, had many business partners at the wedding who were completely disappointed by Dad's actions. Several people even left the wedding, feeling uncomfortable, and unsurprisingly, Chloe's husband and his family were furious. Chloe seemed to be under attack from all sides, but then an even bigger issue emerged. It turns out Chloe wasn't actually pregnant. Chloe, who hadn't been focused on her studies, seemed to think it was okay to later claim she had a miscarriage. She lied to her husband, claiming to be pregnant to elevate her social standing. Her husband became suspicious when Chloe's belly didn't grow, and upon investigating, he quickly uncovered her lie. Between Dad's antics at the wedding and her own dishonesty, Chloe's husband was understandably furious. Divorce is now on the table, and she's even facing demands for financial compensation in the divorce proceedings. Chloe, who had never really worked a day in her life and had almost no savings, found herself in a difficult situation, kicked out of the house by her husband, and with nowhere to go. After hearing Chloe's whole story, I felt sympathy, but when she cried for help, I realized something profound. Chloe and I are not truly sisters anymore. I'm not your sister anymore. I have no intention of helping you. And if Mom and Grandma are swayed by your tears, I'll do everything to stop them from supporting you. Live your own life, Chloe. Why won't you help me with that? I said goodbye and hung up the phone on a crying Chloe. Afterward, I suggested that we didn't really need a landline phone anymore since we all have mobile phones. Both Mom and I have blocked Chloe's number, severing ties with her completely. Rumor has it that Chloe is now leading a life soaked in alcohol, struggling to make payments for the financial compensation demanded in her divorce. Maybe she really did inherit Dad's bad traits. As for me, Mom, and Grandma, the three of us are living peacefully in our accessible home. Grandma can now do many things she couldn't do before. She can cook her favorite meals and do laundry, and she shows a brighter smile, feeling that she contributes to the family. Mom's job is still demanding, but she seems a bit more relaxed now that Chloe, the problematic child, is out of the picture. As for me, without the constant worry about Chloe potentially hurting Grandma, I can focus better on my work. My hard work has been acknowledged, and my superiors see a bright future for me. While taking good care of Mom and Grandma, I'm living my days in happiness.